All right, awesome Math Lab student. Now we're on video 2 of our 3-part series. We may do 4 parts. I haven't decided yet, but right now we're on video 2. You should have gone through your quiz from last week, figured out which questions you got right and wrong, and prioritize the skills. Now what you're going to do is you're going to set goals around your progress for that skill. What that means is you're going to see, where am I now? Do I understand 25% of each skill? Do I understand 40%? And you're going to set a goal so that when you retake this quiz on September 4th, which is in 2 Fridays, what are you actually going to, how much are you actually going to get better by? The second thing you're going to do is, it's not just good enough to have a goal. You actually need to have a plan to reach your goal. And the plan is set by you. And for this activity, because this is our first time doing it, your teachers, me and Miss Ellie, are going to help you actually set your goal. So check this out. You should have at this point, and if you're stuck, you want to go back to your drive, click your folder, and you should have completed. My bad, it would help if I actually share my screen. Hold on 1 second. So again, if you're stuck, let's go back. So you should have this folder, click on it. You should have done this. And if you're on point, all of this should have been filled out. Mine is not filled out, but yours should be. And then you should also have reflection questions 1, this table completed, and also 2 completed. You should not have done 3, 4, and 5 yet. That's what we're actually about to do, all right? To do this, what you need to do is do a little bit of math. Now, go back to this table that you created. You may have written that you got 3 questions incorrect for understanding what a fraction means. But how many questions in total were asked about this skill? So let's look back up. I see that how many questions have this skill? 4. And I got 3 wrong out of 4. So what that means is 3 out of 4. If I do some math, that's 75%. That means right now I have 75% incorrect, 25% correct. Similarly, if there were 4 questions asked about locating a fraction on the number line, and I got 1 wrong, that means that I have 1 out of 4, 25% incorrect. It's important that you make sure you're not writing correct, that you got 25% incorrect, but I got 75% correct. Which one am I doing better at so far? It looks like this one because I got 75% correct. Go ahead and complete this for each one. Now be careful because each skill is not out of 4. You actually need to go back and calculate what percent of each. And so let's say that, I'm gonna make this up now. Let's say that there were 5 questions, I got 60% incorrect. That means I got 40% correct. Let's say there's 4 out of 5, that means I got 80% incorrect. I got 20% correct. Let's say there's 5 out of 10. That means I got 50% incorrect, 50% correct. And let's say this one was also 5 out of 10 equals 50% incorrect and 50% correct. Now, I just did this for the sake of time, but you actually need to go back through this and actually look at how many were each and do the math. If you're stuck, you can use this toolbar to do a calculator. So for example, if you want to know what 5 out of 6 is as a percentage, you can just click 5 out of 6 and it'll tell you it's 0.83, which is 83%. If you want to know what 1 out of 6 is, you can see here it's 0.16 or 0.17 when you round. That means that's 17%, okay? So you also may want to pause this video as you're doing those calculations. So do that. After you do that, you want to go down to number 3, which is what's your SMART goal. So you should have listed these skills, right, in order. So you're going to focus on these skills. Right now, where it says understand what a fraction means, you have 25% correct. So by next week, Friday, which is September 4th, what percentage do I think is realistic for me to have? So let's think about this. Is it realistic for me to go from 25% to 100% in 2 weeks? Probably not. But it is realistic for me to go from 25% to maybe 60% or 70%. So when you want to set a SMART goal, we call it, here's the thing of what you need to think about. The goal needs to be realistic. It needs to have a deadline meaning like a final date by when you're going to determine whether or not you met your goal. And it needs to be really specific. So let me give you an example. So everybody's goal should start like this. By Friday, September 4th, I will grow on, and you can insert whatever skill you have. So I will grow on the skill of understanding what a fraction means, period. I will, or let's do this better. Right now, I have, what's my score? 25% correct. I have 25% correct and will improve my score to 60% correct. That's a specific goal. It's realistic, going from 25% to 60%. It has a deadline, Friday, September 4th, and it's very specific. I would then do this same thing for each of the other ones. So let me do one for this one. So I could say, by Friday, September 4th, let me word it, I will increase my score on questions about finding equivalent fractions. Notice finding equivalent fractions is the skill that I'm looking for. From what's my current skill? I have 40%. So let's see something from 40% to, let's say I could go to 80%. All right, I would do one of these SMART goals that are realistic, have a deadline specific for each one, for each of the skills. Now, for my action plan, everybody for this time is going to have the same action plan. In the future, you guys are going to set your own action plan once you get good at it. So the action plan, what is it? An action plan is a specific game plan to meet your goal. So it's not like saying studying. That's not specific and wrong. It's not saying work harder. That's not specific and wrong. What it is saying is, one, I will complete the online assignments on fractions that my teacher gives me. All right, that's very specific. Another specific goal is, for any question that I get wrong on these online assignments, I will read and take notes on the feedback that I'm given. What this means is, when you get something wrong on an assignment on the computer, they give you feedback, you'll read and take notes on it. What's the point of that? Is to get better and learn from your mistakes. The third thing is, when I'm finished with all of the online assignments, I will redo, we're going to teach you about this, but everyone should write IXL problems in order to improve my learning. about fractions. That's going to be everyone's action plan for this first round. All right. So you can just literally pause this video and copy all of this onto your screen. Later, your teacher will explain this to you. You aren't going to do this now, but for homework, you're actually going to redo the problems that you got incorrect on this pre-assessment. Why is that such a great opportunity? Because you can actually go back and see what you got wrong. You're going to need to turn this in when you take your next quiz on September 4th or beforehand. So you're going to actually have to do this. You're going to have probably some time today to work on it, but I just want to let you know that that's happening. Don't do this now, but I just want to let you know, all right? So for this next video, you should have completed this table where you figure out the percent incorrect and correct. You should have set a SMART goal for each one of these. And then you should have an action plan. And this will be everybody saying action plan, all right? All right, video 2 done.